Good morning, all my Stitch Roadie friends. Thank you for stopping by. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. But welcome today, whether you're new or existing followers of Stitch Roadies. I very much appreciate the company. Gonna turn my phone off because it has been binging away. Got lots to share with you today. It's been a kind of like a fantastic week. It's been a fantastic week. So much to think about and decide upon, and it's just been one of those weeks where I feel content, and I think it's because I've spent a lot of time up here in the beehive, which is my crafting, quilting, stitching spot. Well, last week, let's see what's happened. Well, decisions. I have decided I have a blogspot, and I know blogspot is kind of a old school kind of thing, but I love to write. And so I've maintained my blog on a minimal level. It's almost like a personal diary journal kind of thing, because I move all of my YouTube things over to there, so they're kind of all in one spot. But intermixed with all that is just some writing and photographs. And I've decided that I'm going to use it more like a journal. So if you're interested, you can go to woolly-mammoth@blogspot.com and sign up, and also hit the notifications so when something shows up, you'll since I'm so sporadic. I used to write a blog every single day of the week, and I did that for quite a while, and then I went to every Tuesday and Thursday, kind of that format. And when I started the YouTube, it kind of went to a sporadic, much like my YouTube channels. But I think what I want to do is to go to a once a month, at the end of the month, blog that reflects back to the previous month. It's a different format when you write than when I'm talking. This is much more spontaneous, and the blog is much more, what would you call it? Kind of like a reflective spot for me. And so I said it would be nice to reflect back on the previous month. And that's what I intend to do, in a different way than what I'm doing here. I'm starting to sound a little redundant, am I? Yeah. I try to make the different areas where I share to be a little bit on the unique side, except for the fact that I do move the Flosstube and the Quilt Roadies over to the blog. So there's like one spot existing out on the internet. When I've gone to the next part of whatever there is, that's left behind for my family. My sister just came back from a trip to our mother's homeland, and it has made me think a lot about the fact that there's so little that we know. And my sister was able to connect up with extended family and get some history, and it's kind of made me all kind of, oh, yeah. It makes you think, doesn't it? So that's my spiel on the blog. I also spent time at Acorns and Threads, and First Thursday is coming up, so I'm looking forward to that. But I did go to a class, and not a class, it was a workshop. It was so much fun. It's an event, and Janine at Acorns and Threads will have future ones. So you want to be sure to sign up for the Acorns and Threads email newsletter, because that's where everything comes out. And she truly puts a lot of thought and planning into these. And this particular day was a heart in hand stitch day, and it was with the designer. And the project that we got is this one here. It came in this sweet little envelope, and it is this Thanksgiving Town. Yes. And Cecilia Turner is the designer, and this was an exclusive, so you have to get it through Acorns and Threads. But I'm really excited about it because and let me tell you what I learned. Okay, I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but let me tell you what I learned is that those smalls are not necessarily slam dunks. I actually frogged on this small. Yeah. So this is where I have gotten, I'm almost done. I just have one more little house, but you see there, it's turkey, and there's an acorn on the building. She was absolutely lovely, and she gave us history, and there was about 50 people there, and everyone told where they learned to cross stitch, and I don't know, it actually is more about the camaraderie and being together than anything else. But we lucked out, and I'm really excited about this particular project. Let me show it to you again. And then let me show you she had it finished in a flat fold, you see. But you know what I'm going to do? This was gifted to me by Linda, who has a Patreon on stitching, quilting, crafting, paper crafting, journaling, all kinds of stuff. And she made this little work stand. It's on a frame, and it has a pocket in the front and a pocket in the back, and holds your tools, and then you can set it in front of you at your workstation. And I am going to use this piece for that. I'm very excited. And because I'm a Patreon of Linda's Patreon page, and I know I've raved about her before, I got the step-by-step instructions on how to create that. Yeah, so that was a wonderful day. And Janine provided Panera lunch for us. Fantastic. There were many choices, satisfied everybody who was there. People came from all over the state and out of state. So I would definitely be sure you sign up for her, the Acorns and Threads email, because there is stuff coming up. And although I love the designers, don't get me wrong about this, what I'm about to say. Don't judge me. I love the designers. I mostly love every project I've ever gotten in any workshop. But the number one reason for going to a workshop is the camaraderie. Yeah, that's it. So it doesn't matter if you don't 100% like what a designer does. You're going to get so much out of these events that it is worth it. It is worth it. Well, at Acorns and Threads, since I was at Acorns and Threads, I shopped. I mean, how could you not shop? And I get my mail there. Janine is so nice to allow this to happen. So I have a little mailbox there. and I received a package from Dawn. You're not going to believe this, Dawn. Thank you so much. I can't even show you what Dawn sent because she sent me some beautiful fabric, cotton print fabric. And while I was at the workshop, you know, you walk around, you socialize, you see what people have got going at their table. I mean, that's how I ended up with the best light ever, was because at the very first event I ever attended, every time someone got up from their chair, I sat down. Not to pretend I was them, but to see what their light was like, because I didn't own any kind of cross-stitching magnification light or anything. And I wanted to figure out which one was going to work for me, because there were as many stitchers, there were lights. And so, and I didn't really know anybody. I mean, I recognized Christy from Javagirl Stitches. I recognized her, you know, and I recognized Kindred Stitcher and Lori Textstylust, but when Lisa and Lori got up from their table, I ran over there and sat in their chair to look at their light. They must have thought I was, you know, presumptuous or something. But they had left their spot to go talk to someone else. And so I sat there and figured out that that is the light I wanted. So at this particular, long way around, at this particular gathering, I was walking around the room and Corey was there. Now, Corey is the maker of bags extraordinaire, and of course I had to buy a bag. Crafty Corey Stitches. I mean, look at I had to get one of those smaller 5x7 bags. I mean, it's just gorgeous. But in front of her, now Dawn, just so you know, this is the story. So in front of Corey, she had a mat. And the best way I can explain it is that it must fold or roll up, but it was a mat like to claim her spot on the table. And it had a special cup spot so that your cup, if it sweats or whatever, not that, you know, maybe it does nothing for you if you're sweating over the stitching, but if your cup is sweating, there was like a coaster built into it, and you know, all kinds of little things attached to this mat. But it took some fabric for the back to make it look pretty. And I had asked, before I opened this package, I had asked Corey, you know, I need one of those. I need one of those. Well, I opened the package, and there's this gorgeous fabric. Yeah, that's what happened, Dawn. I marched the fabric over to Corey, and I said, I have some fabric. Yeah, so she took my fabric, she's going to give me the leftovers back, and she's going to make me one of those mats. It's like, yes. And then the other thing, the Seas chocolate, the Seas dark chocolate, G had there's none left. He really liked the Seas dark chocolate, you know. It was beautiful because they were solid dark chocolate with wrapped in foil that were the color of leaves, and yeah, that was gone. That was gone. I think I got 2 pieces out of that. That's because I opened it at the workshop. But once it got home, forget it. So thank you, Dawn. Thank you. So what did I get at Acorns and Threads when I was there? I know that there's other floss tubes that like follow a schedule or a like they have a chapter in, you know, what they're going to do when. That's not this channel. Sorry. So I don't know why I bought this thread. Oh. It's for the beavers. Look at that. I took my vitamins this morning. I remember something now. But I bought some charcoal. I was missing that. And this is what I like about Janine and the crew at Acorns and Threads, is that when you need something, and they don't have it, you tell them and they get it in and they put it in a bag with your name on it, so either the next time you come in you pick it up or they'll mail it to you. Now you have 50-some people at this workshop, and what that means is a lot of shopping's going on, and then if you're lucky enough to sit next to Marsha, she makes you want to buy all the fabric. She literally has 4 pages of fabric that she knows exactly what she has. I do not, but I got fabric fear. Not fabric flare or Fortnite fabric, but fabric fear. And what that means is she was, even though she had all this fabric, she was buying fabric because she didn't have particular pieces. She likes to know that she has particular pieces available. I, on the other hand, have a drawer that one could dive into and throw around and you still wouldn't know what you had. But I saw this piece of Fortnite fabric, and if you've ever watched the Fortnite fabric channel, those guys are a hoot. And this is called Mind Blowing, and that's exactly what Marsha's lists of fabric was. It was mind blowing. But look at this. I just know it's going to be something cool. It's going to be for something cool. So I got that fabric and that thread. Got my Cory bag. Gosh, I love those. The 5x7, I mean, she's got big ones now. There's like 3 different sizes, I believe, or maybe 4 different sizes. And so for different projects, you might use different sizes. For the little smalls, it's kind of fun to have a couple of these small project bags. And yes, I could make my own project bags. And yes, I have made my own project bags, but I don't like mine as much as I like Cory's. So there, that's it. I had to get one of these cups because Marsha got one. Don't sit to Marsha if you don't want to spend money. And it's a drink cup. It's a drink cup, but I need to just unpack it and start using it. But it says Acorn and Threads. Isn't that cool? Oh, and I forgot the best part. On the back, it says, I cross stitch. What is your superpower? Yeah. And then the last, not the last thing, the second to the last thing that I bought was the Rebel Stitcher design. Women of Honor sampler. And I guess this moved me in a way many other charts. This, what can I say? This just moved me. And it was the Women of Honor sampler. And it just has all of these amazing women. And so I'm going to start that sooner than later. But I've got to figure out how to add I want to add a name to it, and I think I'm gonna squeeze it maybe the top up a little bit to be able to add another name to the bottom. And it is the first physician, American Indian physician, that actually she practiced on the reservation, because the white physicians of the area wouldn't treat the reservation population. And so I want to add her name to it. I'll figure out a way to do it. Someone will help me figure out how to do it. It might have to be something my pocket robin helps me with. Okay. The last thing I purchased, and I'm thankfully First Thursday's happening, because I'm a little bit scared of this one. I want to start it in this month, November, and it is this project. Now, the interesting thing about this project is that this is fabric. This is printed fabric, and then there's these two turkeys. So I got the fabric, which is an even weave. Isn't it gorgeous? At Acorns and Threads. But I don't know where to start. It doesn't, there's I look at this picture and the turkeys are sitting along the bottom, but where do you start? And this pumpkin in the picture looks fatter than this pumpkin printed on there. But I know it just must be a distortion of the printing, the picture. So I'm going to do what I always do when I'm nervous about a cross stitch. I take it to Janine and I tell her, help me. What does this mean? What does this mean? How do I do this? And she is awesome with her knowledge. I had a finish, a FFO, and FFO stands for fully finished, a fully finished object, as opposed to a finish where you finish the stitching part, but it's not been made into anything. And this was for my oldest grandson, and I just love it. Oh, it's so cute. Yeah. That is really cute. I'm happy at how that turned out. So now, what next? What next? It's been, I was, on Halloween, I was getting kind of depressed because I love Halloween. For those who celebrate and those who don't. The reason I love Halloween is the children. And so I decorate my front porch, and my house is decorated, and I get good candy. And let me tell you, when I was in Sisters, I knew the neighborhood we lived in was fairly new, and it was kind of at one edge of town. It was backed up to two different ranches, so the chances of getting very many children was pretty minimal. And so I went and bought candy bars. Yeah, the big candy bars. And every kid that came, the handful of kids that came that first year we lived there, I told them, remember where you got this candy bar and come back next year. So I was trying to build up my clientele of trick-or-treaters. I am a big kid at heart, and so it was dark at 5:30. We had the lights on, no kids. G could tell that I was starting to feel sorry for myself, and 6 o'clock came, no kids. And it was raining, and I said, maybe it's the rain, maybe it's COVID, maybe what's changed in the world. And then I thought, this is Portland. When you live here, you can kind of tell the out-of-towners because they're actually carrying an umbrella. Portlanders, they could care less. And so at 6:30, the floodgates opened. I had so many kids. I was like so happy answering the door. Every time they'd say trick or treat, I would go, smell my feet. Give me something good to eat. And their parents were down on the sidewalk laughing. Yeah, so it turned out to be a great Halloween. I had lots of kids. It rained off and on, and by the time we got down to the nothing parts of the candy, about a little after 8 o'clock, we turned off the light and called it a night. So it was good. It was good. It was a great part of the week. So I wanted to finish up today. I'm looking around at this little piles that are going on around here. Finish up with a few questions that were asked and a few comments. So my Enzo was made by Jennifer. And isn't he the cutest? He's not a bunny. If anyone thought he was a bunny, he's a dog. Yeah, and I just love him. I just love him. And when she gave him to me at Quilter's Affair in Sisters, she said, your grandkids could play with him. Are you kidding? No way. He sits here and keeps me company. Oh, he's so cute. I'm always in awe of the talent of knitters. That's not something I've tried, but so far not mastered. And then I got a question about the counting pins. So here's the deal on the counting pins. I learned about counting pins from my dear friend Karen, Yellow Farmhouse on Instagram. And it was a rabbit hole for sure, but one that I so enjoy. Counting pins were probably used like when you're doing a long stitch across and you want to keep track. You could maybe do half stitch every, it's a way to count where you're at on the canvas. You just put the pin in. I don't think anybody's really doing that anymore because there's so many other ways to count. But the counting pins, I think now, are like a decorative, they're a fun decorative thing to add to pin cushions. and they're pins, so, you know. So I went to the craft store and I bought what are called corsage pins, you know, to pin a corsage on. And so they either in packs like this has a little pearl at the top, or I have a bucket of them with a little kind of crystal on there. And you slide beads down the shaft. So you not only have to get the corsage pins, you get to collect beads, you know, pretty little beads that are like sold on strings at the craft store. And then what I put a little bit of glue on the barrel of the pin, and I slide the bead down. I use like a clear Aleene's glue, and I slide the bead down, and then I lay the pin against something so that the beads are sitting where the glue is, and I don't touch it until hours later when the glue has all dried, so that when I stick it into a pincushion, it's a pretty little counting pin. Yeah, so that's how I make my counting pins. And they're fun. They're fun, like for holidays, they're holiday beads and Halloween beads. There's beads for everything. So it's a sweet part of a gift that is just that little cherry on top, if you know what I mean. So let's see. How do I make, like last time I showed you a pincushion that I made, and I like to find things at like secondhand stores or antique stores, Goodwill, that hold, that could be turned into a pincushion. And so when I do, I realize that I have to make something, and I don't want to sew a pincushion to start, you know, stuff down inside of whatever I'm using. I like to felt the pincushion. So the way I do this is that I use one of two items. I either use this styrofoam craft balls, you know, I don't even know what these are used for, but they're made from recycled plastic, and they're just styrofoam balls. Or if I can find these little white felt balls. They're wool felt balls. And then you need a tool, a pen style felting tool. It's a Clover product, and it's very sharp. It has three needles sticking in it. I don't know if you can see, that's the three needles there. And so you're going to put the roving, whatever color roving, and this is roving. It's I don't even know if this is like must be some kind of wool. Yeah, it must be wool roving. And I wrap it around, and then I'm constantly poking. You have to be careful not to poke your finger. I'm constantly poking that, and I keep poking it and poking it and turning it and poking it and turning it and poking it and putting more roving around it. I stretch the roving around it, and I keep poking it, and then I keep checking how it's fitting in whatever I decide to turn into a pincushion. And once I get it to the size I want it, and that's where it's a little bit snug, you know, if I push it down inside, it's a little bit snug, then I put clear glue around the inside rim, and then I stuff it down. And it makes a sweet little, it's like a sweet little gift pincushion. And then I make counting pins to go along with it. because they're fun to make. They're fun to make, counting pins. And so that's my how I make pin cushions. I sew pin cushions and stuff, but it's kind of fun to find those unusual items, and these are for small, for the larger items that I find, I probably would sew a pin cushion, but for the small things, it's fun to just take some roving and create a pin cushion out of it. Okay, let's see. Oh, I thought this was great. You know how I told you how I use my orts in a clear jar? Well, Sue saves her orts and puts them into a clear, and I saw some at the craft store, clear Christmas ornament. That would be pretty in a craft room. Put a little Christmas tree in your craft room and hang little ornaments with your orts in it. And if you put like the year of when those orts were created, that'd be kind of fun. Oh, my mind is just kind of going crazy, isn't it? Yeah. Someone asked if I quilt to order or sell, and I don't. I did that for a nanosecond back in the 90s, and it was too stressful for me. It's a big responsibility. And for those that do it, oh, bless you. Bless you. Yeah. Well, I started talking to, I'm going to just leave you with this one thought. I started talking to some friends about, you always talk about your accumulation. Oh my gosh, all this stuff. And I thought, well, maybe conceivably a lot of these things, I mean, it's your accumulation, not your children's accumulation. They get to accumulate their own stuff, So it could be that much of my stuff would end up at Goodwill. But I was telling a friend of mine that that's okay, because we actually don't know what happens afterwards, and maybe in my next life I'll come back and go to Goodwill and I'll be able to buy all my stuff at fraction of the cost that it cost me the first time around. So I am thinking that's an okay thing. That's an okay thing. Yeah. So I'll leave you with that thought. I hope your day is going well already, and that your week is going to be as sweet as ever. I am grateful that you stopped by, and we'll see you the next time around. Love you guys.